The assassin.
You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest.
What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. Well, before we get into things, I did release a new lyric video this week for the single Head Knock with my label mate Lex Aziz. So you could check that out on my YouTube channel, or actually the Black Man Records YouTube channel, YouTube at Black Man Records. And that's Black Man, BLAQMAN Records. Or you could also check it out on my website, katietrop.net. I would appreciate that. All right, y'all, we actually have a series now in the NBA Finals. The Miami Heat took Game 2 last night in Denver to tie the series up at 1 right now. They got a close win last night, 111 to 108. But for the most part, Miami, they were pretty much in it throughout the entire game. They started off the first quarter pretty much dominating. And it looked like we were actually going to have a good, decent game. Then Denver started to get it going in the second quarter, had the lead going into halftime. And then the third quarter, the Heat came out kind of strong, but Denver pretty much owned the third quarter. But then the fourth quarter rolled around, and that's when Miami really just did not let up. They ended up just taking a nice about like a 10-point lead with about 3 minutes left to go. And it just kind of looked like Denver was in dire straits, and they were pretty much just playing catch up all the way through. And even though the score ended up being close in the end, for the most part, Miami was sitting pretty for the majority of the fourth quarter, especially with about like 7 or 8 minutes left to go. They really just took the lead and went from there. With the help of Gabe Vincent, who really stepped it up for the Miami Heat last night. He had 23 points, but he was who really got it going for the Heat in the fourth quarter. He started dropping threes and making the big shots when necessary, and the Heat had like an 8-0 run right off the bat in the fourth quarter, and they really just kind of never looked back after that. Jimmy Butler had a solid game. He had 21 points and 9 assists, and then Bam Adebayo also had a good game as well, 21 points and 9 rebounds. So it was just an all-around good game for the Miami Heat. Good win for them too. They took the home court advantage away from Denver, and they got that win. Even though Nikola Jokic, he had a good game. He had 41 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. So he only had the double-double, so maybe he needs the triple-double to get the win. But Game 3 is going to be Wednesday night in Miami. But it's nice that we actually have a series here, because Game 1 looked pretty pathetic, at least from the Miami Heat end of things. And so now it's looking like we have a real series here heading into Game 3 on Wednesday. All right, now let's get into the top 10 MLB Power Rankings for the week. Not a whole lot of shakeup here. A couple of teams just moved around a little bit. But for the most part, it's the same old song and dance that we've had here for the last couple of weeks. Beginning, of course, with the Tampa Bay Rays, still at number 1. Their overall record of 42-10, 6-4 in their last 10 games. They have kind of cooled off just a bit these past couple of weeks, but they're still the top team in the league. This past week, they took the series against the Boston Red Sox, but lost the series to the Chicago Cubs. But they really are just getting it done at all ends of the field. Randy Arozarena, he is just having a great season, batting .287 with 11 home runs and 40 RBI, leading the team with 40 RBI. And then, of course, Shane McClanahan. He has been the leader of the pack for them in the pitching department. He's got 8 wins on the season with a 2.07 ERA, which is the lowest ERA in the league right now, and then 82 strikeouts on the season. So McClanahan is just wheeling and dealing this season, right along with Rosarena on the offensive side of things. And like I said, the Rays have cooled off just a bit, but they're still one of the top teams in the league. And I expect them to just keep on rolling, even if they start suffering some injuries. But so far, the injury bug really hasn't hit them too bad just yet. Then at number 2 this week on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings, the Texas Rangers. They are moving on up. Overall record of 38-20. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. This past week, they took a series against the Detroit Tigers, and then they also took the series against the Seattle Mariners. And now they have overtaken the lead for the most runs in the league right now at 376. They overtook the Tampa Bay Rays. They've been pretty much just hovering, getting closer and closer, and the Rangers have really just opened it up with their bats. Marcus Semien, he's having a phenomenal season, batting .303 with 9 home runs and 47 RBI on the season. But then also just Nathan Eovaldi at starting pitcher. This guy is just having a huge resurgence here with Texas. And even though DeGrom is on the injured list, and it looks like he's going to be on the injured list longer than expected, Eovaldi's really taken over. He leads the league with 8 wins. Is tied, actually, with Shane McClanahan of the Tampa Bay Rays. He's got a 2.24 ERA and 77 strikeouts, so he is just came out of nowhere. He's really just been a journeyman the majority of his career, and then all of a sudden this year, he's really having a lights-out season and actually making a case for a possible Cy Young Award winner. And, he wasn't even expected to be anybody we really discussed. It was going to be all about DeGrom, but DeGrom's been injured, and Eovaldi has just been lights out from start to finish so far. But the Texas Rangers, they just keep getting better and better as the season rolls on. Then at number 3 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings of the Houston Astros, overall record of 35-24. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. This past week, they lost a series to the Minnesota Twins, but won a series against the Los Angeles Angels. Yordan Alvarez, he's having a great season, batting .274 with 15 home runs and 51 RBI. The 51 RBI actually leads the league right now. In RBI, and then Alex Bregman. Usually he's kind of like a second half guy or a role player guy, or he always steps it up in the postseason. But so far this regular season, he's actually been very solid. He's batting a .256 with 8 home runs and 36 RBI. So he's right up there chasing Yordan in the home runs department. I believe he's actually second on the team with home runs. So Bregman's having a good season, and the Astros, their starting pitching is tops in the league with Valdez just leading the way. He's just right behind McClanahan in ERA. I think he's like 3rd or 4th. He's right up there in the top 5. But the Astros starting pitching is looking really good. They have what's his face, who just came back from injury. Drawn a blank on him. Whatever. The Astros looking solid as usual. The defending champions really haven't lost a step whatsoever, and they are at number 3 this week on my Trop 10. Then at number 4 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings, I have the Atlanta Braves, overall record of 35-24. Jose Altuve is the name I was struggling for when I was talking about the Astros. Sorry, had to throw it out there. I knew it was going to come to me. That's the name I was struggling for, who has come back for the Astros. He's been really solid since he came back from injury. So, like I said, Astros still keep rolling. But at number 4 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings of the Atlanta Braves, overall record of 35-24, 5-5 in their last 10 games. This past week, they lost a series to the Oakland A's, which is just really bad because the Oakland A's are one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, try and name 3 players from the Oakland A's. It's really difficult to do so. And I watch baseball regularly, and play fantasy baseball as well. So it's just it's really difficult to even name a player on the Oakland A's. But they were able to take care of the Braves earlier in the week. But then they were able to take care of the Arizona Diamondbacks this weekend and take that series. And they actually were able to finally get to Zach Gallen. It's been very difficult for teams to get to Zach Gallen, and they blew him up yesterday. And Ronald Acuna Jr., he is just continuing his reign of terror. He is batting a .331, which is second right now in leading the league in batting average, right behind Luis Arias of the Miami Marlins. But Acuna has also got 12 home runs and 32 RBI. And then Matt Olson, he has 17 home runs and 43 RBI. So the Atlanta Braves are just getting it done in every way possible. They are just lighting up the scoreboard. But also their starting pitching is just lights out. So Braves still looking really good. Then at number 5 on my Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings of the New York Yankees, overall record of 36-25. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. This past week, they won a series against the Seattle Mariners and then also against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Anthony Rizzo is just having a great season. He's batting .293 with 11 home runs and 32 RBI. But Aaron Judge, he's still having a great season as well. He's just taken off. Or right where he left off last season, he's batting a .291 with 19 home runs, which actually leads the American League. So he's still right up there with the home runs and 40 RBI on the season. He did, and he's making great defensive plays as well. He made this great catch once again against the Dodgers this week where he basically slammed through the fence. Now, unfortunately, it looks like he might have broken a toe, so there's a good possibility that he might hit the injured list, even though they just got Stanton back. And then also it looks like Nestor Cortez, their starting pitcher, is going to be hitting the injured list as well. So the injuries keep piling up for the Yankees, but they seem to keep it moving, seem to keep getting the wins. But I kind of feel like losing Aaron Judge for any extended period of time is going to be a big deal. But luckily, it looks like it's just going to be a broken toe. But I mean, when you're a heavy hitter, and then also, like I said, on the defensive side of things, he's very underrated with his defense because he's spectacular out in the outfield, but we just mostly focus on how many home runs he has. But in the outfield, he's a difference maker for the Yankees. He has actually stopped quite a few home runs in his entire career, but this season alone, he's made some big catches, and he's going to be a huge hole to fill for the Yankees if they lose him for an extended period of time. Like I said, they did just get Stanton back, so that's definitely going to keep them afloat with catching runs or with getting runs, and then also Rizzo, he's raking it in as well. But defensively, they might take a hit there, but he hasn't hit the injured list yet, but he did miss yesterday's game. Then at number 6 on my Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings at the Baltimore Orioles, overall record of 37-22. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. This past week, they lost the series to the Cleveland Guardians, but won the series against my San Francisco Giants, and they kicked their asses yesterday. I mean, I had the game on while I was working out, and I basically turned my head for maybe a couple of minutes, and it was 0-0, and then all of a sudden it's like 4-0 out of nowhere. I'm like, what's going on here? What happened here? Oh yeah, that's right. The Giants suck. That's what happened there. But yeah, so they were just kicking their ass yesterday. I mean, they played a pretty decent game on Saturday because the Giants got the win then. But yesterday it was horrible. It was not even a game for the Giants. But the Orioles, they're just getting it done every way possible as well. You've got Kyle Gibson, who's got 7 wins on the season with the 3.89 ERA, who's really just been shockingly their main starting pitcher, who's just really taken the reins, and he looks pretty solid, at least so far. He's been very shaky for the majority of his career, so I've just been really waiting for the other shoe to drop with him. I mean, we still have a whole second half of the season to go, but so far, Gibson's been really solid at starting pitching for the Orioles. And then Cedric Mullins, he's really been raking it in this season with batting at .263 with 8 home runs and 39 RBI. So the Baltimore Orioles, we are still talking about them. And here we are, June 5th, and they look like a pretty solid team. But like I said, second half of the season, we'll see where they're at, but they are still playing pretty well right now. Then at number 7 on my Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings, another team that we're still talking about that I can't believe we're still talking about, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Overall record of 35-25. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. This past week, they swept the Colorado Rockies, but lost a series to the Atlanta Braves. And like I said, Zach Gallen, he's been their workhorse all season. He's had a great season, but the Braves were able to figure him out yesterday and really just give him probably his worst game of the season. But other than that, Gallen's just been in Cy Young form so far this season. But also they're getting a lot of power behind the bat. with first baseman Christian Walker, who right now is batting at .254 with 12 home runs and 36 RBI. He's just really, him and Gurriel Jr. have really been an offensive force for the Diamondbacks. And like I said, I'm very shocked that we're still talking about them, and they are in first place today, once again in the NL West. So they've really been back and forth with the Dodgers in a shocking turn of events. Don't know how much longer that's going to last, but I'm pretty fucking happy about it because, as you know, Giants fan, I hate the fucking Dodgers. So anytime the Dodgers, even if the Giants suck, if the Dodgers suck too, right along with us, woo, woo, woo. That's what I like to see. Then at number 8 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers, overall record of 35-25. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games, so it hasn't really been a good couple of weeks for them here. They did take a series against the Washington Nationals, but lost a series against the New York Yankees. But they are starting to get it going with their bats right now. They're third in the league with runs scored. Right now, though, Freddie Freeman, he's just been having yet another great season behind the plate, batting .331, which is, I believe, tied for second in the league right now with batting average. He's got 10 home runs and 35 RBI on the season, so he's really getting it done. Also defensively as well. And then Mookie Betts, who has had a quiet start to the season so far. He's actually been getting it going the last couple of weeks. He's batting at .257 with 15 home run and 36 RBI. So the Dodgers seem to be getting back to old form. You know, Clayton Kershaw, he's still having a great season. The old guy still getting it done. He's got 7 wins on the season and really just still pitching lights out for the Dodgers at this age and at this stage in his career. It's just it's crazy to see. Then at number 9 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings, the Miami Marlins, overall record of 32-28. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. That's actually why they were bumped up here into the Trop 10 this week. Because they are actually one of the hottest teams in the league right now. They did lose this week a series to the San Diego Padres, but then they just swept the Oakland A's. As I said, Luis Arias, it's always difficult for me to get his last name because everybody says it differently on all the networks that I watch. It looks like Arias, but some people say Arias. I don't know. Regardless, he is leading the league in batting average at .392, so he's been hovering around at 400 all season long. He's either been at 400 or just right now .392. That's like the lowest he's been all season long. But he's just been getting on base for the Marlins. And he's got 27 RBI as well. And then Jorge Soler, he has been getting hot this last month. He is batting at .245 with 17 home runs and 36 RBI. And he is right up there in the top 5 this season right now in home runs. Overall in the league, right behind Aaron Judge of all people. So the Miami Marlins, they just look pretty good. And shockingly, it's not Alcantara, their starting pitcher, who was the Cy Young winner last year, who really just held it down for them all year last year. He's actually having a down season, and he has really not got it going. He's got like over a 5 ERA right now, which is just terrible for any pitcher, but really bad for him. So it's quite shocking that the Marlins are doing well in spite of him having such a poor season. But who knows? He's still a fantastic pitcher, and he could just turn it around at any point in the season. And who knows? Maybe we'll see the Miami Marlins. I don't know if they'll be a playoff contention team, but so far it looks like they are going to fuck up some people's seasons at some point here. But right now they're ranked at number 9 on my Trop 10. And then rounding out my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings this week, it was actually really difficult to figure out who to put at 10 because there's just a couple of teams who are hovering up and down, some that aren't doing so well, like a team that I felt that possibly could have been at 10, maybe the Guardians. They're kind of surging, but they're a Jekyll and Hyde type team right now. But also, so is the team that I picked at 10 this week is the Milwaukee Brewers. I really think I just threw them in there because they've been in the Trop 10 for quite some time, for quite a few weeks. Overall, but they've really taken a tumble the last month. But they've been back and forth this last couple of weeks, and so they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. This past week they lost the series to the Toronto Blue Jays, but took the series against the Cincinnati Reds. They're really getting it done with Rowdy Tellez behind the plate. He's having a great season, batting .249 with 12 home runs, 27 RBI, and then Peralta is their starting pitcher, who's been their top dog so far with 5 wins, a 4.62 ERA, and 61 strikeouts. So, like I said, it was difficult to figure out who was going to round out the top 10, just because there are a few teams hovering there, but there's some teams who are just taking a nosedive right now. And so I just threw the Brewers in there, even though I probably could have put the Guardians there, just because they're starting to get it going. They did just get Tristan McKenzie back off of the injured list, and he came back, had a really solid first game. But we'll see. I mean, their closer leads the league right now in saves, Emmanuel Clase. So I easily could have put them there, but I don't know. They just haven't been consistent enough. But then again, the Brewers really haven't been as consistent either. But I guess that was just kind of my rationale. But it really could have been a toss-up between a few teams right there at the end. So yeah, like I said, we've got game 3 of the NBA Finals on Wednesday night in Miami. So we'll see how that goes and where we're at with that on Friday. So enjoy the week of basketball and baseball, and I will talk to you guys on Friday.